The state of presence is not what you think it is. You keep talking about the state of presence as the key. I think I understand it intellectually, but I don't know if I have ever truly experienced it. I wonder, is it what I think it is, or is it something entirely different? It's not what you think it is. You can't think about presence, and the mind cannot understand it. Understanding presence is being present. Try a little experiment. Close your eyes and say to yourself, I wonder what my next thought is going to be. Then become very alert and wait for the next thought. Be like a cat watching a mouse hole. What thought is going to come out of the mouse hole? Try it now. I wonder what my next thought is going to be. Then become very alert and wait for the next thought. Be like a cat watching a mouse hole. What thought is going to come out of a mouse hole? Try it now. Well, I had to wait for quite a long time before a thought came in. Exactly. As long as you are in a state of intense presence, you are free of thought. You are still yet highly alert. The instant your conscious attention sinks below a certain level, thought rushes in. The mental noise returns. The stillness is lost. You are back in time. To test their degree of presence, some Zen masters have been known to creep up on their students from behind and suddenly hit them with a stick. Quite a shock. If the student had been fully present and in a state of alertness, if he had kept his loin geared and his lamp burning, which is one of the analogies that Jesus uses for presence, he would have noticed a master coming up from behind and stopped him or stepped in aside. But if he were hit, that would mean he was immersed in thought, which is to say absent, unconscious. To say present in every life, to stay present in everyday life, it helps to be deeply rooted within yourself. Otherwise, the mind, which has incredible momentum, will drag you along like a wild river. What do you mean by rooted within yourself? It means to inhabit your body fully, to always have some of your attention in the inner energy field of your body, to feel the body from within, so to speak. Body awareness keeps you present. It anchors you in the now. The esoteric meaning of waiting. In a sense, the state of presence could be compared to waiting. Jesus used the analogy of waiting in some of his parables. This is not the usual bored or restless kind of waiting that is a denial of the present and that I spoke about already. It is not a waiting in which your attention is focused on some point in the future and the present is perceived as a undesirable obstacle that prevents you from having what you want. There is qualitative different kind of waiting, one that requires you total alertness. Something could happen at any moment, and if you are not absolutely awake, absolutely still, you will miss it. This is the kind of waiting Jesus talked about. In that state, all your attention is in the now. There's none left for daydreaming, thinking, remembering, anticipating. There's no tension in it, no fear, just alert present. You are present as your whole being, with every cell of your body. In that state that you that has past and the future. The personality, if you like, is hardly there anymore, and yet nothing of value is lost. You are still essentially yourself. In fact, you are more fully yourself than you ever were before, or rather, it is only now that you are truly yourself. Be like a servant waiting for the return of the master, said Jesus. The servant does not know what hour the master is going to come, so he stays awake, alert, poised, still, lest he misses the master's arrival. In another parable, Jesus speaks of the 5 careless, unconscious women who do not have enough oil to keep their lamp burning and so miss the bridegroom and don't get to the wedding feast. These 5 stand in contrast to 5 wise women who have enough oil, which is meaning stay conscious. Even the man who wrote the gospel did not understand the meaning of these parables. So the first misinterpretation and distortion crept in as they were written down. With subsequent erroneous interpretations, the real meaning was completely lost. These are parables not about the end of the world, but about the end of psychological time. They point to the transcendent of the egoic mind and the possibility of living in an entirely new state of consciousness. Beauty arises in the stillness of your presence. What you have just described is something that I occasionally experience for brief moments when I'm alone and surrounded by nature. Yes, Zen masters use the word satori to describe a flash of insight, a moment of non-mind and total presence. Although satori is not a lasting transformation, be grateful when it comes, for it gives you a taste of enlightenment. You may indeed have experienced it as many times without knowing what it is and realizing its importance. Presence is needed to become aware of the beauty, the majesty, the sacredness of nature. Have you ever gazed up into the infinity of space on a clear night, awe-struck by the absolute stillness and inconceivable vastness of it? Have you truly listened to the sound of a mountain stream in a forest, or to a song of a blackbird at dusk on a quiet summer evening? To become aware of such things, the mind needs to be still. You have to put down your moment, your personal baggage of problems, the past and the future, as well as all your knowledge. Otherwise, you will see but not see, hear but not hear. Your total presence is required. Beyond the beauty of external forms, there is more here. Something that cannot be named, something ineffable, some deep inner holy essence. Whenever and whatever there's beauty, this inner essence shines through somehow. It only reveals itself to you when you are present. Could it be that this nameless essence and your presence are one and the same? Would it be there without your presence? Go deeply into it. Find out for yourself. Is presence the same as being? When you become conscious of being, what is really happening is that being becomes conscious of itself. When being becomes conscious of itself, that's presence. Since being, consciousness, and life are synonymous, we could say that presence means consciousness becoming conscious of itself, or life attaining self-consciousness. But don't get attached to the words and don't make an effort to understand this. There's nothing that you need to understand before you can become present. I do understand what you just said, but it seems to imply that being, the ultimate transcendent reality, is not yet complete, that it is undergoing a process of development. Does God need time for personal growth? Yes, but only as seen from the limited perception of manifested universe.